More is available. Now, on Friday, State Representative Mia Jones introduced an amendment that would help to expand health insurance to the many uninsured and underinsured in Florida. It was a simple 2-sentence amendment, but it would change the lives of so many Floridians. And today, State Representative Mia Jones is on the line to talk to us more about the vision for the future. Representative Jones, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Rahman.
I know it's very busy. The legislative session is coming to an end, but very quickly, what will this amendment do to help people who are uninsured in Florida? And I want to give the statistics before you answer. I understand from the Democratic Caucus office that 1 in 5 Floridians at minimum is either uninsured or underinsured in the state of Florida.
Yes, they are. And what this amendment would have done was it would have implemented the Affordable Care Act as Congress envisioned it, and it would have expanded Medicaid and made sure that those who were eligible for insurance through what we would have called an exchange would have been able to do that here in the state of Florida.
Why is it that, obviously the Affordable Care Act, a majority of Americans put the mandate out when they reelected President Barack Obama back to office. The Supreme Court said that it was something that should pass. What is the holdup with Florida's legislature saying that we don't want to expand the Affordable Care Act in Florida?
Well, we have the governor saying that he wants to expand and draw down the $51 billion that our tax dollars have gone up to Washington and they're sending back to us to implement the Affordable Care Act. The Senate is saying something very similar, that it wants to do draw down those dollars and make sure that we get our fair share of the American pie. And the House has chosen to this point to say that they want to implement something totally different. And instead of making sure that they're covering 1.2 million Floridians that would be eligible under the original plan, that they would only cover 115,000, and that's simply just not acceptable.
Now, we're also told, one of the things in talking to some of the other members on the other side of the aisle is the reason that they don't want this plan to expand is because they feel that after a certain period, there'll be a sunset, and then all of those funds, we wouldn't get any more federal funds. They'd be funds that are coming out of the state coffers. Is that true?
Well, what would happen is the first 3 years, as it's currently written, would be fully funded 100%. Under the governor's plan, the governor has said, let's implement it for the first 3 years, and then we can reevaluate it at that point. We know that right now we put a large portion of our general revenue dollars into Medicaid. This would give us an opportunity to change that and to make sure that we could take that money, we could set it aside, allow it to draw interest so that when we got to year 4, when it would go down to 90%, we would have funding available and ready to cover that 10% that would be our portion of what would need to be paid in order to make sure that these Floridians are covered. The other part of that is we know that the economy is on the uptick. A number of these people are eligible to be covered now because they're having to take positions that they previously had better jobs. They had insurance coverage on their jobs, and so we would expect that these numbers, although they are significantly inflated now because of the economy, that they will start to go down as our economy continues to strengthen.
Well, we know that you and the caucus are very passionate about this issue, and we've gotten a lot of tweets and emails about this, so we'll be checking back in with you to see how things continue on this. Again, State Representative Mia Jones from Jacksonville, who is also the deputy leader of the Florida House Democratic Caucus. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Just ahead, coming up on Bounce News at 7, it's Earth Day. We're talking protecting the planet. Science Chat's up next. We'll be right back.